Here with reaction, former counselor to President Trump, Fox News contributor. She did a great job last night in our coverage, along with everyone else. Kellyanne Conway, along with former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Governor, sad to tell you that you have officially been replaced as the best governor in the history of the state of Arkansas. But, you know, I hope you can deal with that reality. That's just a fact.
Well, I was just proud that Sarah, kept the numbers low. She didn't try to show out or anything. She only got 63.5% of the vote.
What did you get
when you won?
So
she wanted to leave a little room. Let me just say it was a different time. No, I'm incredibly proud of her. And I think this is going to be said of Sarah. She will satisfy her supporters, but she will surprise her opponents and the people who did not vote for her. She will be a governor for all of them. She understands what it means to be a true servant leader, and I'm confident that she will be the best governor. I want her to be. I want nothing less than that.
You know, that's who you are, Governor. What's your take on the rest of the night last night?
Disappointing. Let me be blunt. I've got to give a mea culpa. I was genuinely predicting that we were going to have a red wave, a tsunami. I thought we'd get 53, 54 Senate seats, 230 House seats. We're not going to get there. I think we will get the majority in the House. I still think we have a real shot at the Senate. But it was not the big election that I had hoped for, that I expected. But I think there's something that we need to acknowledge. And I heard Ted Cruz say it a few moments ago, and he's exactly right. We're battling an incredible obstacle here. The headwinds are against us, and two big things, and it's not the Democrats or their message. We expect them to be our opponents. We don't expect them to say what we say. That's not why they're there. But we have two other opponents that we have to deal with. One is the traditional media, the mainstream media. They're 90% against us. They're always going to spin things against us. And the other are the institutions of the government itself, the Department of Justice, the FBI. And when those two entities get together, the Democrats don't have to be good. They just have to stay out of the way of the institutions of real power in this country, the media and the mob of bureaucracy. And it's really tough for Republicans to beat that headwind.
Yeah. Let me get Kellyanne. You had a lot of great insights last night into what was happening, what's going on. I am of the opinion that partisanship won last night, that you could pretty much be a corpse, and if you have a D next to your name and you're going to be a rubber stamp for the agenda, that the agenda, the partisanship, literally nullified anything else that you might stand for, no matter how radical it might be.
No doubt that's true. And the Democrats knew that, Sean and Governor, going into their closing arguments. They weren't talking about their new plan to tackle inflation or to combat crime or to bring us back to energy independence, get Putin out of Ukraine, stop people from crossing the southern border, get fentanyl as not the #1 killer. They didn't say any of that. What they said was, you should be scared. We're scolding you. Democracy's on the ballot. Don't let them win. So I think the smarter Democrats right now are admitting that they were appealing to their base, not early, but late. And that's unusual. Late in the game, political savants, we're usually trying to appeal to independents, to swing voters, to late in the game deciders. Now, Democrats did carry independents last night, but not as well as they did in 2020. And I think there's a little bit of information quickly to take heart from last night. One is in states that Obama-Biden carried twice years ago, they're now pretty darn red. I mean, I'm looking at Ohio, Florida. Iowa was a clean sweep. We don't talk enough about Governor Kim Reynolds there. We have a clean sweep of the congressional races. Lee Zeldin lost the governorship, but in losing, he helped us win 4 seats on Long Island. Also, demographically, there was a shift of 13 points, according to the Fox News voter analysis, among white suburban women. That's huge. A shift among Hispanics, a shift among Black voters. Why is this important? Because I think durability matters. We're in a realignment time, and the dynamic changes of some demographic cohorts going away from the Democratic Party, not showing up in all the races in the final tallies, but overall nationwide, that's good news for 2024. You keep talking about a corpse, that Democrats would vote for a corpse, and not coincidentally, today Joe Biden held a press conference, and in it he was asked, what would you do differently? And he said, nothing. So I think what happened today, Governor and Sean, is that we got closer to Joe Biden being the nominee along with Kamala Harris in 2024. Democrats are going to regret that. I want to take a moment of personal privilege to talk about my friend and colleague of many years, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I mean, some of us are just close to tears watching her take the governorship of Arkansas. We worked with her every single day. She has such grace, dignity, obviously intellect, and leadership. She didn't need to take that job. She and Brian and those young kids, she does have a servant's heart. It's not just her father saying, it's people who work with her every day. And one other thing about Sarah, she took so many slings and arrows as a warrior for freedom and always did it with a smile. And I think she shows everyone how to handle opposition and unfairness, blatant lies, as Ron Johnson said. And Sarah, God bless you. But also, remember, success finishes a lot of sentences. And she gets the last laugh for all the people who tried to take her down. We got Katie Britt and Sarah Sanders. We're not going to have Kamala Harris breaking ties anymore in the Senate, and Nancy Pelosi will no longer have the gavel.
All right, Kellyanne, thank you. I know you're a proud Dow tonight, Governor Huckabee, and we're happy for you, but also happy for the people of Arkansas. Knowing Sarah as we do, she will serve all the people there, and she learned from a great dad. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.